Welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel, Traveling with a Disability. I am Charisma, um, CNC style. So today I wanted to talk about homeschooling. Homeschooling and world schooling. So we are getting ready to take off in about 2 months. And my son was going to a virtual school. Actually, did that for a year. It had its plus and minuses. We did that for the 2021 year. So here in 2021, I really just decided that I was not happy um, with the way the coursework went anymore. He was taking like 7 classes a day. He had special needs, so he had therapy an hour 3 times a week. With multiple therapies. He also had a required art class, required PE class. It was just a lot. Basically they had their schedule was 8 to 3:30, and a good amount of that time they were in class with some breaks in between. For some students that may be doable. For my son, that was a little overwhelming. I'm gonna be honest. For me as a parent, by the 2:30 class, I mean I fell asleep sometimes. It was just that much going on, and even though they had built-in breaks, that much time sitting in front of the computer listening to the teacher is just a lot, and then you still had homework. So because I know I'm going to be traveling soon, I just decided to do something different. So I looked into world schooling. That's a fairly new concept for me, but world schooling is basically where people utilize the world to educate their children. People do world schooling differently. Some people, they don't do any lessons. They strictly utilize the world, the beach, the museums, whatever may be there, they utilize that. Everything is a teaching moment within the world. There's other people that may use a bit of a curriculum. You pull some worksheets here and there, maybe use some YouTube, and they do that type of schooling. And then there's other people that utilize the world as well, but they do more of a homeschooling model where they may have a full curriculum and still have sit down classes. Then there's the whole homeschooling thing. Homeschooling is different from world schooling in that it does not include the world. So you homeschool from anywhere. You can stay in your home and homeschool. In the state of Georgia, there's different standards for every state. In the state of Georgia, we have very little standards. We just do standardized testing every 3 years. So I made the leap and decided to do homeschool. Now, a little background information. I am like anti-homeschool. Like, let me just be very clear with y'all. Like, I am, oh my God, I can't believe you doing that. I got to go to work. Who's about to sit here with this kid all day? Who's educating them? That's what teachers are for. That's what schools are for. And that's what I use my taxes for. So the idea of homeschooling, had there not been a pandemic, this may have never come about. Well, actually, it may have, because my rationale for traveling is for my son, because he does have a rare genetic disorder. So maybe this would have came around. But when I tell y'all, I was like, oh, absolutely no to homeschooling. So let's be very clear. I am not the homeschool guru that's like rah 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 homeschool. It was just kind of like this. I can't send my kid to public school because I don't want him getting corona, and I can't continue doing this 8 to 3:30, and I still have to work. Like I couldn't keep doing that. And I didn't feel like he was really learning. I felt like he was, getting left behind because, they just kind of doing their own thing. So the only thing that was left for me was homeschooling. So I want to go over my process. So basically what I did was I did a full spreadsheet, and I listed all of these different homeschooling programs. I personally wanted a curriculum because I'm not a teacher. I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm a real estate investor, but I'm not a teacher. Um, I do coaching, for special needs and for disabilities, but teaching I do not do. So I decided I wanted a curriculum. So I did a spreadsheet of about 10 to 15 different curriculums that I picked up on the Facebook boards. You know, once you start talking about stuff, Instagram throws stuff on there, Facebook throws stuff on there. And I started researching all of them. So the one that I thought that I loved the most was Power Homeschooling with Acellus. It's $25 a month. And you get the entire Acellus curriculum. Now you can do Acellus itself directly, and that's about $200 a month, and you still get the curriculum, and then I think it's accredited. So that's the difference between the Power Homeschooling and the Acellus. Took me a minute to figure out that, but that's the difference. With that one, you know, I was rah, this is the best one ever. Yeah, that one didn't work for me. It's very much lecture based. They try to make it child focused, but for my son, he just was not focusing on that. Like, head was down, you know, he just could not get into, you know, the lecture and then the lesson. So we left Acellus fairly quickly. It didn't take long for me to realize that Power Homeschooling Acellus wasn't for him. The second one that I did was Time for Learning. That was another one that a lot of people had said was wonderful. When you look at their videos, it's very playful. It's very, what would I say? Very interactive with the students. But when I actually did that one, what I found was they had a lot of open-based answers towards the end of it. And with the open-based answers, that just didn't work well for my son because it was more like, open-based questions at the end of it. That didn't work well for my son because it was draw a picture showing what you learned, or make a diagram showing about whatever they went over that day. Well, the problem is my son doesn't really write, he types. So it was really me drawing the pictures and drawing the diagrams. So it wasn't really testing what he knew. You know, I did feel like if you're a person that doesn't really want test answer based or quizzes, then I think that it would work for you. It wasn't just straight lecture. They try to bring it all in. They try to make it a little funner. Then I noticed on the Power Homeschooling, which is good for smaller kids. I think Power Homeschooler is good. It's good for older kids. So that's the whole thing that I found with the Time for Learning, that it just didn't work with my son. The other thing was I just felt like I had to pick my lessons out of order and figure out how to arrange them. And that just didn't come very easily. I'm still a working parent. I have my own business and I'm a single mom. So I just couldn't, I wasn't looking to create a curriculum. So for him, it just didn't go in order. Talking about what I wanted to learn about. I felt like there were certain concepts that we should have talked about earlier, and then other concepts we should have talked about later. For example, weather. I felt like certain parts of weather we should have talked about first, and then we should have went into atmosphere, and then, just the way that it went. And it may just be because, when you start homeschooling, you start to notice your child's gaps. You start to notice the things that the school system slid over and just didn't really focus on. So it may just be because, my son has some gaps there that were supposed to be, I thought were being taught in school. But, the more that I continue on with this journey, the more I see why they say no child left behind, because they're just pulling you along. You really don't know the stuff, but they're not leaving you behind. They, dragging you on. So, there's a lot of gaps there. My son is in third grade. However, for some things we do in second grade, some things we do in third grade, some things we do in first grade. So, that's why that curriculum didn't work for me. So then I tried Easy Peasy. Y'all, this was 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I did all these curriculums. So then I tried Easy Peasy. A lot of people, I think old school homeschooling, people that have been homeschooling for years, had kids that are high school and college age now. They did Easy Peasy. So I said, okay, let me try Easy Peasy because that's been around forever. So Easy Peasy was a little easier for me. It was still something that I had to do more so than my son doing it. and it was, you know, it flowed a little bit better. However, again, I think it was the gaps. So like for third grade, you know, second week of school, it started talking about proper nouns. Well, you know, I don't know that my son really knew what nouns were. And let me remind you all, my son has special needs. So he's in some co-taught classes, but he's also in some special needs classes. So with his language arts and math. So I don't know that my son actually knew what nouns were. So I'm like, well, you know, typically at the beginning of the year you do a review of things. Well, the way this worked wasn't really a review of things. We're just jumping straight in. So we weren't going over nouns. We're going to go straight into proper nouns. And, you know, then I went back and I said, well, let me look at the grade underneath that. Maybe there's nouns. But I didn't see the nouns there either. Now, it may have just been that I overlooked it. But, you know, it was another situation where I felt like we were putting the cart before the horse. There were some things that I did like about Easy Peasy. So there were some parts that I pulled out more. And then there were some parts where I was like, well, let me use the time for learning for this. So I found like with those, I had to use both of them. And I didn't really want to use two curriculums. I know a lot of people may use four. Three, how many? I just didn't want to have to go back and forth to make a curriculum. And then I found that I had to reteach him and find stuff to try to reteach him. So I decided that didn't work for me. So here we are at 2 weeks. I've already been through 3 curriculums. I had a friend mention, actually a special needs group. They mentioned elephant learning, and I actually had a expat friend that mentioned elephant learning as well. So then I said, okay, let me try this elephant learning. So they mentioned elephant learning with math. My son really, really struggles in math, the concepts, but he can do time his 5s and 10s, but adding and subtracting is difficult. So I'm sure you teachers can explain to me why that is, but that's the case. So I said, let me try this elephant math. So I did the elephant math. They actually give you a scholarship when you put your income in there, and then they bug you. Like, they contact you every single day until you get started. So I sent them an email back because I just kind of ignored it. And I'm like, okay, you know, we only get a 3-day trial period. So I want to start when we're actually going to do the 3 days. So we actually signed up for elephant math. I figured I'd give that a try. I actually really, we've only been doing it a week, but I feel like I see some small progress in him. Elephant math says that in 3 months, they'll learn a year worth of material. I think it's around like $50 a month or so, but they actually say they'll learn a year worth of material. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's worth a try, you know, if you're going to learn that in 3 months. So we've been doing the elephant math. They say you just do 10 minutes a day, 30 minutes a week, and they'll learn that material or you get your money back. So I was like, oh, okay, let's try out this elephant math, you know, whatever, let's try it. So we're doing the elephant math. I have not canceled that subscription yet. So I'm actually doing that one because, you know, I felt like he's actually doing something with it. It kind of breaks it down. It determines if you need to go to a higher level or a lower level. So I thought that was really good. It does that automatically. It's one of those things where it's interactive. It has like a little playground. And not a playground, I'm sorry. It has questions that they can answer. They can win points and all of these different things. It is time, so they know when their time is up. So it makes it easier for them to go on there, click on it, do their work, and be done with it. So far I like elephant math. The other thing is that I did look for a new curriculum. I went back to my handy dandy list and I looked at My Academy. My Academy is $25 a month. Right now they have a special. It's like $3 for the first month. And then you can do, I think it's $160 for the year or the $25 a month. So I signed up for the $3 for a month, and I actually like My Academy. So My Academy, it has the area with the lessons. They can earn coins, and you can put in what they're earning for. You can put in candy, you can put in tablet time, but they earn their coins as they complete their lessons. They also have like a playground that they can follow along. You can make it interactive with other kids so they can get on there. Now that's a choice that you make. You don't have to make it interactive. The other thing that they do is they make it user friendly. So my son actually clicks on his class. He clicks on the lesson. The lesson is like maybe 2 or 3 minutes long, maybe a little longer for some lessons. He clicks on the lesson. He clicks on his practice, and then he keeps his question answer. He keeps going until he gets it right, and it tells him that he's all done, and gives him the little prompt to return back to his learning path. It's been a week and he's really picked up on that. It's like, I know I have to do this, this, and this. Does he want to do it at the beginning of the day? No. But once we get started, I've noticed that he's doing that. The other thing I like about them is that under each subject, so let's say you have in language arts, since we discussed language arts, they have the grade levels, and then under each grade level they have a category, and then they lay out everything in the category, and you can actually check a category, or you can check the little marks underneath the category to determine what you want them to learn. So like how I was talking about the nouns, so I was able to go back to the grade. I don't know which grade it was, but I was able to go back to that grade, check off the nouns, the verbs, and everything that comes along with that. And then let's say he knew the reading part of it. So I didn't check off the second grade reading, but I checked off third grade reading because he's on the third grade level with his reading. So that's the thing that I like. And then it goes through the process of checking those off. And that's what they do over a course of a year. So whether your child is in third grade on a second grade level for this, a third grade level for that, and a fourth grade level for that, it really doesn't matter because you're checking off individually what you need for your child. So you don't have to do the whole second grade lesson, and you don't have to go in there every day and figure it out. Like, you do your curriculum, you check off everything you want for the year, and they follow along. Like Power Homeschooling and like Easy Peasy, they offer other things. That's another thing that I liked about those three curriculums, is that they offer language arts, not language arts, they offer foreign language. So they offer Spanish, some of them offer German, some of them offer Chinese or Mandarin, I believe it is. So they offer foreign languages, they offer Bible classes, they offer music classes, which he actually really enjoyed the My Academy music classes versus the Acella's music classes that were a bit not as fun, I guess, for him. But I did start the music off at kindergarten because I figured, let's just do whatever for music. I didn't know there like are really grade levels for music. And so I did that for the music class. I think I started off with like kindergarten, skipped first grade, went to second grade. They also have this new thing that I noticed My Academy has, and Power Homeschooling has, is the social emotional learning. So if you want to do that, you can add that in there. My Academy also had chores, so you can add that in there where they learn about their chores. It's just a lot of different things. So I just wanted to give you all a comparison and let you know that you're not alone in this journey. It's some other ones. One of us anti-homeschoolers that's now homeschooling our kids, working, running businesses, traveling, doing everything that we do as super parents. So I just want to give you a rundown. I will list all of the homeschooling ones that I utilize, and I'll list their link so that you'll have that. And I hope that you learned a lot. I don't believe I have any affiliate links, so just use them at your leisure. Send them on to different people. But I hope that this was at least somewhat helpful. You can choose one that's right for you and your child. A lot of these do, I think maybe all of them go up to 12th grade. So I think that's really good as well. I really liked, because I have a 18-year-old. So when we were trying to look at some refresher work, I really like Power Homeschooling for Celis for the older kids. So just the FYI about that. So thank you for joining me, and I wish you the best. If you want to contact me, I'm Charisma's Care on Instagram, on Facebook, Traveling with a Disability, Charisma's Care on YouTube. And I have some Facebook groups that I utilize, and I am always open to new clients dealing with disabilities, wanting to learn how to travel, dealing with special needs, that getting through the medical system, getting through the school system, and just living this life that we live. All right, y'all. So signing off is Charisma, CNC style, traveling with a disability.